welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television coming.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Right, we can now share with you some of those pictures that you sent to us. And let's begin with this one, if we can, from Oshogbo, the Osun state capital. There it is. And it's showing this overloaded bus. Our eyewitness reporter says he'll appreciate it if road safety officials do more to discourage such acts. And from Kaduna City in Kaduna State comes this image of a vehicle carrying humans on a already overloaded truck. Our eyewitness reporter says this act is dangerous and should be discouraged. The next one is from Ojo in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, showing a section of the road washed away by erosion. Our eyewitness reporter says the road is dangerous and could be worse if unattended to quickly. Finally is this photo from the Ikorodu area of Lagos, showing people whom our eyewitness reporter say are living under deplorable conditions.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and remember that you can always report issues that are happening around you. For now, we cross over to Abuja, and here's Linda Akigwe. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Abuja. The Nigerian army says it has killed 14 Boko Haram militants and recovered large arms in the custody of some gangsters in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria. The general officer commanding 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Mohammed Aliyu, disclosed this to journalists in Damaturu, the state capital, adding that one soldier sustained minor injuries during the operation and is currently being treated.
Battle-ready Nigerian army soldiers, but these ones are not going to the war front yet. They are at the premises of their command in Damaturu, Yobe State, where their senior officers are briefing the media on the recovery of arms from some gunmen. The general officer commanding 3rd Division of the Nigerian Army tells journalists that it has not been an easy task, but the military is winning the war against Boko Haram.
Following a tip-up, our unit resident here undertook an operation at Chukwurusko, where the locals there did not know that the insurgents, when I say insurgents here, I'm particularly referring to Boko Haram. And they were resident in the area. They are building arms with whatever intention, nobody knows. But one patriotic local among them reported immediately to the military leadership here, and an operation was carried out. The result is what you will see there. We found them, and there was military activity, and luckily 14 of them were killed. And out of the 14 of them that died, apart from those who fled with some injuries, we recovered about 16 weapons.
Yobe State is among the northeast states where Boko Haram activities have assumed a frightening dimension. But the army says so far they have been able to track the activities of the sect. The army says socio-economic activities will soon return to what it was before the start of insurgency.
Therefore, what we want to assure the public is that our work here is to help them restore their normal life.
The command here may be facing a seemingly tough assignment, but for the commanders, the task of winning the war against Boko Haram is a contract that the army has with the Nigerian people. And for them, it's a war that must be won.
The ongoing conflicts and youth restiveness witnessed in different parts of Nigeria are only symptoms of deeper socio-economic challenges facing the country. This is the position of the president, who says that poverty, injustice and lack of job opportunities are largely responsible for the various conflicts. In a statement by the president's special assistant on media and publicity, President Muhammadu Buhari told a delegation from the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue, an organization active in the promotion of peace in Nigeria, that to achieve enduring peace in the country, greater effort must be made to eradicate poverty and injustice. On the constant conflicts between farmers and herdsmen in parts of the country, President Buhari said, and I quote, "A plan to map out grazing areas will soon be presented to the Nigerian Governors Forum as a temporary solution to the frequent conflicts until cattle owners are persuaded to adopt other means of rearing their cattle," end of quote. He commended the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue for the relative peace that had returned to Pt.2 State, as well as their ongoing efforts to bring about peace in southern Kaduna. The former president of the interim government of Liberia, Professor Amos Sawyer, has advised Nigeria to open more political spaces for women to participate in government. Speaking at a political summit in Abuja, Professor Sawyer says Nigeria has made remarkable progress in consolidating democracy for 16 years, which many African countries are striving to emulate.
Again, because
Nigerian politicians and their colleagues from neighboring countries are meeting to discuss how to consolidate democracy in Nigeria and Africa. The guest lecturer, Professor Sawyer, after commending Nigeria for setting the pace in consolidating on democracy, advises political leaders to allow more women in politics.
After the last elections, the proportion of women in the lower house was 5.6%. 20 out of 360, and 6.5% in the Senate, 7 out of 106. We look forward to Nigeria's leadership in advancing gender equity at home and gender equity advocacy elsewhere in Africa.
The vice president, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the summit, says Nigerian democracy needs help to grow and deliver on its promises.
While democracy is crucial, especially in its capacity to ensure that the people are given a voice in the choice of their leaders, democracy needs help to attain its promise of justice, human dignity, and egalitarianism. That help can only derive from a moral elite. A moral elite, a leadership that is prepared to make the sacrifice of self and parochial interests for the good of the people.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives enumerates the contributions of the legislature to consolidating democracy in Nigeria, while the Senate President urges elected politicians to learn from the 2015 elections.
The legislature in Nigeria has played a very positive role towards electoral reforms and the quest for credible elections. It has used its legislative authority to stabilize the polity.
Any serious-minded politician should learn from that 2015 election. The next election, you can only win if the people want you. There's no other way that's going to happen. So for those of us in the National Assembly, it's either we do our work, or I bet you we will not be back on those seats.
The political summit is the first gathering of politicians from within and abroad to discuss on how democracy can further be strengthened since the 2015 general elections were conducted.
we will succeed with the remaining.
And that's all from the nation's capital. Back to you, Joma.
Thanks a lot, Linda, for that one. And when the news at 10 returns, the Minister of State for Petroleum inspects vandalized pipelines here in Lagos. You join us again.